Swimming and screaming, yes, screaming live. I don't know how you share it here now. But I didn't try to
Good evening. If we can go ahead and have our seat or stand just for a moment. We're going to still have food and have a bar. Exciting day for Pensacola. I don't think in the history of Northwest Florida we had a gubernatorial candidate that hit the ground at 7 o'clock this morning and running all night. And last night was a long night. But let me thank you for being here. So a couple things I always do when I set protocol is because I love my mother. My mother didn't care if I was in the Easter play or a baseball team. I didn't get a game. My mother had come to everything, and she's rolling her eyes because she had cataract surgery. So I'm glad that my mother is here. And we'll get that other eye fixed for her. Jim Tugger, he hung on the good eye. And so let me say how important it is. Now, some of those Brownfield seniors, now, come, Miss Sarah. Because Ms. Leo don't play about y'all. So, first of all, let me thank you for being here. What a great day. And I want to, first, before we bring up David, acknowledge some dignitaries and some other candidates that are here. But I would be remiss if first, I didn't recognize, and David Jolly uses this across this state. And he says that Pensacola is a model. He says there's a model. But the first group that he ever met with was the Brownsville seniors at Brownsville. And they're here in Yellow Street. Y'all give it up for these senior ladies who are the best campaign team. When they start working on my campaign, Miss Adelia, Miss Miller said we don't lose. And so any race today that they've ever been on, they've never lost. So thank you, ladies. And whenever I call on you, are here. So we have today, we have Mr. Our DC kid, Derek Scott is in the house. Derek, thank you for being here. We have congressional candidate Gabe Belmont here. Thank you, Gabe. We have County Commissioner candidate Matthias Robinson. Matthias, thank you. I'll call you right there. Thank you Matthias, for being here. We have State House candidate Johnny Austin Thompson. Johnny, thank you for being here. We have Committee Woman Samantha Heron. Samantha, thank you for being here. Santa Rosa, BJ Brunis. Thank you, BJ, for being here. Thank you so much. From our Panhandle Coalition, Ms. Diane Crumble is here. Diane Crumble. Every time y'all put on them blue shirts, y'all know everything. I got it. Sit down. So if you would listen, President of Panhandle Blue, Alicia Traywin. Sign you up for my mama, Diane. Vice Chair Margie Perkins here. Margie, thank you for being here. Hard working. The guy that's been on my side for the last 18 months making it happen for the LBGQ and leader of the Democratic Party, Mr. Jeff Nall. Jeff Nall, thank you for all that you've done, Jeff. Santa Rosa County, DC Jill Dagg. Santa Rosa County, thank you for Okaloosa. Say what? Go ahead and sit down. I'm going to call you in a minute. Political Director of the Brownsville City, Ms. Leola Snow. Thank you, Ms. Leola, for being here. Ms. Gwen Decker. Gwen is in the house. Thank you, Gwen. Raise your hand. Gwen, thank you so much. Thank you for Gwen. Committeeman Ron Helms is in the house. Ron, thank you so much. Committee woman that's been around all day, Ms. Haley Morissette. Haley is somewhere. She's probably looking for a DJ job. So if there's any committee people, any candidates, I see my dear friend Juanita Scott here, would you please stand if we forgot to call your name? Because I learned how to MC in the church. And what my mom would do, she'd call a bunch of people's name out, and then she missed people, and then she tell everybody to stand up, and the program went on for another hour. So good, nobody else stood up, so I don't have to go another. No, I think, well, you stood up. What's your name?
My name's Francesca DeBryan, Florida House District 1. I know my name's hard to pronounce, so people are scared to say it.
House member Francesca what?
Jabrian.
Jabrian, that's right. You get data centers. That's what I love about you. I promise you, I will never go for data centers if you stop coming to the meeting and keep me there for 5 hours. Yeah, there you go. Now you gotta sit down. So first, in a very serious moment, we want to thank everybody for being here. And so we've been out. What I like about David Jolly, this is his 6th visit here. And if you don't think we got a crisis in this county, in this state, until the Voting Rights Act of 64, Civil Rights Act of 64, the Voting Rights Act of 68, when you look at what they're doing to single-member districts here in this Camden County. So you may not like David Wiggins, you may not like Land Wiggins or Lumen May, but when they move for these at-large districts, because we have a guy with a Supreme Court black robe on somewhere that decided that it was unconstitutional. We recognize that our children don't have anybody they can identify with. It's one of the reasons that I'm on David Jolly's team, because he's already committed to open up Office of Civil Rights. Because he give it up for him. And so let me be clear. We are in some difficult days. Let me lay this out. Just because someone looks like you don't mean they are for you. And so we have to elect candidates for all of us. Red, yellow, black, and white, we're all pressed in God's side. The trick of the enemy is to take black Democrats, Hispanic Democrats, Cuban Democrats, Dixiecrats, moderate-crats, liberal-crats, progressive-crats, and all separate us. Here's the reality: we're all Democrats. We're all people. It's just the reality of it. So we don't need a hoorah for David Jolly, because his daddy was a Southern preacher. 2 things he can do: he can preach and he can raise money. So before we bring him up, we used to always have a hymn in our church, or either a pep rally. And so Diane, you're gonna help me before we bring David Jolly up. We're gonna say, "Fired up, fired up." I can't hear you. Fired up, fired up, ready to go. Let me introduce my friend David Jolly, the next governor of the state of Florida.
Hey, how we doing?
my 6th time during the gubernatorial campaign. Lumen May's been there every time. Jeff's been there every time. Ryan's been there. Marcel's been here. A lot of folks, you all have become friends and family to me on this trail. And I just want to start by laying it out and saying thank you to each one of you who have been a part of getting us this far. Because we received the nomination to be the Democratic governor of Florida last Tuesday night, or the Democratic nomination to be governor, but I'm telling you what, on November 3rd, we're going to get elected governor of the state. I promise you, look, we're going to win this race. Now, look, one of my first visits was to the Brownsville ladies. It's a tough crowd, folks. It was a tough crowd. I walked in, they were all having fun, and it was like the music stopped. They were like, who's this guy? And Lumen's like, no, I beat Lumen there. The problem was I got there before Lumen. And they were all looking at me like, who's this guy? And Lumen walked in and said, no, it's good, let him talk. And so I talked, and I went around, and I met every one of y'all, and I don't remember which one it was, but one of them said, I got a really hard question for you. I said, uh-oh, here we go. She said, are you married? Y'all know who it is. I don't know who it is, but y'all know who it is. So listen, let me start by way of introduction. Yes, ma'am, I am married. My wife and I have 2 young kids. They're 7 and 5. 7 and 5 years old. Yeah. I'll send you the Google. I'm 53. I'm 53, and they're 7 and 5, and every day is a Monday in our house. But a little bit of background, which you may or may not know. So I am a 5th-generation Floridian. I've lived all over the state. I was born in Clearwater, grew up in Miami a bit, lived in Pasco, where I graduated from high school, and then I lived here in Pensacola. I lived up by Olive Baptist Church. My folks, I was born into a minister's home. My father pastored churches throughout the state, and for about 20 years, he was the director of missions for the Pensacola Bay Baptist Association. And so I used to open up the Olive Baptist Church gym at 5 a.m. so that all the seniors could come walk the track. And I would shoot basketball for about 4 hours until I went to my day job and figured out what I was going to do with the rest of my life. But listen, I promise you, Pensacola is part of my heart, folks. I know your heart because it's my heart as well. And Escambia, Okaloosa, Santa Rosa, Northwest Florida that's too often been overlooked. As someone on our team said, you know, what the media needs to understand is it's a different state. Because the truth is, throughout Florida, we are all fighting to get back to the state that we know we can be. A little bit more of an introduction. I mentioned I've lived all over the state, my background in politics, finance. Some of y'all have said, hey, I see you on MS Now and MSNBC. I spent about 10 years doing TV work with MSNBC. And it's amazing in Pensacola, when someone comes up and says, I see you on MSNBC, I think, I didn't realize you get MSNBC in this part of the state. But here's what I'll tell you. The last part of my introduction, and I say this for some, you'll find it, maybe a bridge that we can build together through kindness. Others will say, well, where's Jolly going? So just give me a little bit of grace. I speak openly about my Christian faith in every room I go into. I do it not to evangelize, but I do it, it's part of my introduction. It's who I am. It's a faith that I have chosen and a faith that I celebrate, and I believe in the Jesus Christ, who I call my God. But I say it for a couple reasons. First, I think we need more politicians willing to acknowledge their faith. But I think we need every politician to acknowledge that their personal and private faith stops at the steps to the State House. Because we are a state that launched culture wars based in the name and the foundations of a religion that I believe has wrongly been applied to divide people in the state of Florida, and I think it's wrong. Whether your foundations are rooted in faith or what our founders described as the very natural rights of man, the reality is this state has gone backwards in dividing people and marginalizing people based on the color of their skin, where they were born, who they love, or who they worship, and it's wrong. It's wrong. So by way of introduction, yes, my wife and I have 2 young kids. We live in Pinellas County. The last thing I'll tell you is mine is a story of change. You see, I used to be a Republican. I know a lot of people are offended by that, but I want to do something. I want to say thank you to the Republicans and independents who are in the room tonight, because I know we've got some in the room. And we need your help. We need you to be a part of this moment. You're here because you know that we are a nation and a state that is broken and more divided than ever before, and our politicians wake up and tell us to hate each other, and it's wrong. The truth is, we're litigating more than policy. We're litigating more than ideology in this race. We're litigating who we are. We're litigating whether or not we are strong enough to return to the fair state of Florida, where everybody has a fair shot, where the economy works for everybody and everybody's dignity is respected and the government stays out of your life. Listen, you don't have to be a Republican, an independent, or a Democrat to know that we are a state and a nation today that is broken. We are more divided than ever before. And so what do we do in this state? I'll tell you what we do. We rise up and we build a political coalition that the country has not seen yet. And it's happening. If the election were tonight, we would win the governorship. I'm telling you, we would win the governorship. And I need you, there's several things I'm going to ask that you leave here knowing and believing. Believing. First, you have to believe that we can win this race. But you already do because you're here. But don't let the pundits tell you, don't listen to those TV pundits, by the way. Don't let the pundits tell you that this race can't be won. In some past cycles, that may have been true. But listen, some cycles, voters want to stay the course. Some cycles, it's an ideological race. Some cycles, it's war and peace, but some cycles are about change. Folks, change is here in the state of Florida. We can win this race because voters are standing up, saying now's the time. And you know where it started? It started right here with Kay Valmont's race over a year ago. It started right here. I mean this, folks. Understand what happened. In the 24 race, a lot of people worked really hard. We thought we had it within reach, but we let Florida slip away by 14 points. And people left exhausted and resigned that maybe there was no future in the state of Florida. And a woman named Kay Valmont said, against all odds, I'm going to stand up and run for Congress in a deep red district. And guess what? She swung it by 15, 16 points towards a Democratic candidate, towards change. It started here. It started here. That same night on the Space Coast, another congressional candidate swung a district by 15 or 16 points. We then had state legislative races that swung by 20 points in Central Florida. The city of Miami just elected a Democratic mayor for the first time in 30 years. And it was 19 points. It wasn't even close. Mar-a-Lago elected a Democratic state representative. In Hillsborough County, our Lieutenant Governor, Jay Collins, resigned his seat as a Republican state senator and was replaced by a Democratic state senator. Folks, we're gaining ground in the villages. The villages! By the way, I got to tell you a story about our two kids. Our daughter's 7, our son's 5. It's a beautiful, beautiful age. The first time we took them to a rally was in October of 24. I was asked to introduce the second gentleman at a rally in the villages. So we take our kids, they're 3 and 5. You can imagine a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old walking into the villages. They were the king and queen of the ball, right? Everyone was celebrating them. Here, 600 people cheering and excited. Our daughter's hiding under the chair, and our son's like big old wide eyes. So we go through the rally. Some of you will remember this from the 24 cycle. We go home, and the next morning we look outside, and our 3-year-old son, Teddy, is marching around the backyard saying, "We're not going back." That poor young man still asks me if Kamala won. All right, I'm going to tell you a real funny story here. Kids say the wildest things. I'm going to admit something. I'm not litigating the President of the United States in this race. I don't worry about what the President's doing. That's my personal politics. That can be y'all. I'm running to be governor of the state of Florida. But look, our kids absorb a little bit of our internal politics. They're going to this little church school right now, given their age. I'll get to education in a minute and the crisis that we're in. Our 7-year-old daughter said to her little Sunday school music teacher, "Ma'am, I don't think Donald Trump has Jesus in his heart." And that music teacher said, "Oh, Carolina, I think he does." And Cece said, "Well, we're just going to have to agree to disagree." Look, the scripture says, raise up a child in the way they should go. We're raising young Democrats in our house, folks. So I'm getting a little distracted because this is the end of the day and I'm just letting it rip a little bit here. But let me tell you this. So I made the introduction. What I want to introduce you to, though, I need you to leave with a few things. One is that we can win. Know tonight that we can win because we're seeing it across the state. Change is here. And the one poll, I realize it's a poll, but the one poll right now out there on the street says if the election were tonight, we would win the race. We are leading Byron Donalds in this race by a point. And here's the good thing. When voters get introduced to the two candidates, we lead by 6 points. So we got our work ahead of us to make sure voters understand the contrast between our campaign and our opponent's campaign. But how do we build, in the state of Florida, how do we build a coalition to meet this moment? Because here's the thing that the pundits won't tell you on TV. It's not that hard. Voters tell us what they want. Every cycle, voters tell us what they want. And right now, voters are telling us, I want change. I want change. To my Democratic friends, I would say we've got to be a little cautious here. We're winning all these races, but we're not registering more Democratic voters at a huge rate right now. Which I would say as Democrats, maybe we haven't won hearts and minds yet, but we're winning votes. We're being given a very fragile currency. We're being given the public trust to lead in a moment where the nation's broken, where we're more divided than ever before. Voters for the first time in 30 years are saying to Democratic candidates, I'm willing to give you a shot. And so then our job is to honor that public trust. So how do we build a coalition in the state of Florida capable of winning the race on November 3rd, just like we're leading tonight? I mentioned I was a former Republican, spent 5 or 6 years as an independent. I found my home in the Democratic Party. I'm a proud Florida Democrat, not a reluctant Florida Democrat. I didn't come into the party to change it. I came into the party to grow it. And let me tell you what's happening right now. We are growing a coalition led by Democratic values. What are those values? I talk about 3 values everywhere I go. Values, not policies. The policies are, I want to be a governor that invests in housing, healthcare, and education, and stop data centers in the state. Those are the policies. Housing, healthcare, education, sure, clean water, clean air, and stop data centers. Those are the policies. But what are the values? The values. First, the economy should work for everyone. The economy should work for everyone. Now listen, economic growth is good. We want the economy in Florida to continue to grow. We want more jobs to come to Florida. I hope people continue to relocate their businesses here. The economy should grow, but it's got to grow for everybody. Because an economy that doesn't work for everybody doesn't. We end up straining our economy and we end up leaving too many people behind. So yes, economic growth is good, but it's got to work for everybody. Folks, tonight in the state of Florida, half of our state does not have enough savings to last 2 weeks. Working families, working individuals who can't absorb a car repair, a lost job, a divorce, a broken relationship, a medical expense. Half of our state does not have enough savings to absorb 2 weeks worth of lost income. They would lose their home. They would lose their car. They would have to move. We have more people going without health care than ever before in the state of Florida right now. We have homeowners who are having to lose their homes or leave their homes because the insurance market on homes has collapsed in a state that is prone to natural disasters, and the private sector is never going to solve this for us. That industry has collapsed, and it's not coming back in the state of Florida. In a state that has abandoned public education, First, I want to say thank you to the teachers in the room who have put up with the challenges that the politicians have put in front of you. We made a choice in this state to attack public education, to attack our teachers. We pay our teachers dead last in the nation. Some of you live in Pensacola, but you work in Alabama because you get paid $20,000 more by being a teacher in Alabama. Listen, that's a failure of us as a state. I don't care if you're a Republican, an independent, or a Democrat. It's wrong what we've done to abandon public education. But now we've set up a choice program where you drive by a local school that's been abandoned, you go to a choice school and they charge you tuition on top of a voucher, economically disenfranchising the very families that need the help. And oh, by the way, that choice school doesn't have to teach a kid to read. Education is now part of the economic crisis for too many of Florida's families. The economy's not working for everybody, and it should. If that's the first value, then what's the second value? It's a corollary to this. Government can do its part to improve our lives. Government can do a few things to help out. Now listen, I will tell you, I think the private sector should lead. I believe in a capitalist economy creating the most amount of economic opportunity. But it has always been blended capitalism, where we make responsible social investments in housing, healthcare, education, public safety, clean air, clean water. You see, there are things that the private sector will never do for us because it's not set up to do that. That's okay. We don't have to argue about it. But let's recognize the private sector will never make sure that every child gets an education, that every person has health care regardless of the ability to pay. The private sector is never going to affordably cover hurricanes and wind in a natural disaster state. It's not going to invest in community safety. It's not set up to do that. That's why we have, since World War II, made responsible social investments using government as a lever, as an investor to improve our lives and create economic opportunity for the most number of people. What does it look like? Housing, healthcare, and education. I think we need a state catastrophic fund for homeowners to fully remove hurricane coverage from the private market, put it in a state sovereign wealth fund, and it will cut insurance by 60 to 70%. My opponents call it socialism. I just call it cheaper insurance. And you know what? You know what socialism is? They currently fund a hurricane fund with $8 billion and they use it to bail out insurance companies. They don't call that socialism. I'm just suggesting we use a hurricane fund to get the backs of ratepayers and homeowners and cut insurance by 60 to 70%. We need a generational investment in workforce and affordable housing, using platforms that we know have succeeded all around the state. When government steps in and provides tax agreements or tax subsidies or land banking, we actually can deliver more workforce and affordable housing for more communities so people can live in the community in which they work. I think on healthcare, we should scale up the direct delivery of primary healthcare in all 67 counties. Now, here's the fascinating thing about this. My opponents will say, oh, Jolly's talking all this big government stuff. In fact, he goes on TV and he says he's a socialist, communist, radical. Folks, I'm not even cool, much less radical. But listen, we don't have to argue over the role of government. All we need to do is recognize models that have succeeded and invest more in them. What do I mean? You all know this. In Brownsville, you have a community where the hospital closes 2 bus stops to get to healthcare. But the way you can receive it is there's a federally qualified health center that says regardless of the ability to pay, we're going to make sure you have access to healthcare. And when you do it, it improves health outcomes and it reduces costs. It looks different in Broward County. There are 6 health clinics, the county health clinics that provide healthcare, improving outcomes, reducing costs. In Miami and Little Haiti, there's a faith-based nonprofit that sees 300 people every week with primary health care services, regardless of the ability to pay, improving outcomes and reducing costs. Whether you're a progressive that believes in extending more health care or a conservative that wants to save money, guess what? When we go out without health care, we are now the 49th in the country in avoidable hospital costs. So whether you want to extend health care or just save money, yes, the government can invest in extending primary health care services across the state. Housing, healthcare, education. You see things that government can do to improve our lives. On education, I promise I won't go too long on this. I get a little worked up. Folks, it is a moral wrong that we pay our teachers dead last in the nation. A moral, shameful wrong. It doesn't matter your party registration, it's wrong. We're 40th in per capita spending. Our Republican friends in Tallahassee will often point to 4th grade test scores. When they do that, ask them about 8th grade test scores. Because by then we're starting to lose our youth. Because we have a recruitment and retention problem with our teachers who, God love them, leave it all on the field every day to change the life of the young people, despite the fact that our politicians have abandoned them. We know when we invest in public education, what happens? We create opportunities for young people. We transform lives, but we create a more resilient economy. So whether you're a progressive, a public education advocate, or a conservative that knows we can strengthen our economy by creating more educational platforms for more youth, folks, it just makes good sense. Housing, healthcare, and education, there are ways to use government to improve our lives. It should be lean and efficient. It should be accountable. But yes, where the private sector won't do it, that's why we've come together with our taxpayer dollars to invest in people's opportunity. And in an era of Doge, where we continue to attack government, at some point we're attacking ourselves. We're attacking ourselves. We're making it harder for our kids and grandkids when we do this. So the 3 values: the economy should work, government can do a little bit better. And the 3rd value is very simple. We should be a place where everyone's rights are protected and their dignity respected, regardless of the color of your skin, where you were born, who you love, or who you worship. Listen. I speak of it. Let's just be honest. We're a state that now is known around the world for culture wars. That's what we're known for. The governor likes to call it the free state of Florida. But the reality is we're a state of culture wars, where our kids and grandkids are saying, I don't think I'm going to live here anymore. Your snowbird friends don't want to visit. Tourism is down. Tourism isn't down because of a rental car tax. It's down because people feel unwelcome. And in a state that now is moving towards open carry, they fear gun violence. Listen, whether your foundations are rooted in faith or what our founders described as the natural rights of man, the reality is we should protect everyone's right and we should respect their dignity. Protecting people's rights, we have a playbook for it. It's called the Constitution. People's voting rights, their franchise, their suffrage that has come under attack. Reproductive freedom, the ability to make your own healthcare decisions. The basic civil liberties of someone who love who they want to love. It's all come under attack. Sure, we can return to protecting people's rights, but we should also be a state that extends dignity to the most number of people. We've gotten a lot wrong throughout our history. The premise of our entire national experiment was that we were going to extend economic freedom and personal liberty to the most number of people. But we know our history. We're a nation that when we started out, people of color were only 3/5 of a person. Women had absolutely no rights, no economic rights, no voting rights. But over the arc of history, that arc bent towards progress. Struggle led us to revolution. Struggle led us to more rights. Women received the right to vote, received economic freedom. We just met with a group of young black women entrepreneurs right here in Pinellas County because now the economic opportunities are in a place that they weren't 50 years ago. It's progress. We've always been working towards progress. Our LGBTQ plus friends didn't have the right to marry until our lifetime. But through struggle and fight and petition and legal cases, we finally were a nation that granted liberty and freedom to our LGBTQ plus neighbors. Folks, my concern is that as that arc of history has been towards progress, in the last 8 years, it's started to go backwards in the state of Florida. Whether you're rooted in faith or the natural rights of man, it's very simple to recognize we should end the culture wars in the state of Florida. We should fight to return voting rights, the franchise, and the suffrage of every Floridian. Fight for reproductive freedom and access to health care. Fight for the opportunity of everybody to be celebrated or to celebrate however they wish. It's heartbreaking where we find ourselves today. An economy that has slipped away from us. A government that too often has abandoned us. And when they do something, it's not to solve our insurance prices, to solve our health care, to extend health care. It's to double down on culture wars and further divide us. It's wrong. It's wrong, folks. It's wrong. What does it look like when we end the culture wars? You see a lot of this on TV. I've been doing this for 1.5 years, and my opponent likes to film when I talk about ending the culture wars because they think that they can get political mileage out of it. Some of the videos in this room tonight will go right back to Byron Dawes. It's going to happen. I don't care. I don't care. We're not going to shy away. We're not going to shy away from defending everybody in this state, recognizing the dignity of everybody in this state. And I'll tell you a couple ways we end the culture wars. First, let teachers teach. Bring back the book. Every child in the state of Florida should know about the Rosewood Massacre. Every child in the state of Florida should know about the Groveland Four. Every child in the state of Florida should know that Harry T. Moore was murdered on Christmas Day alongside his wife for having the audacity to register voters of color. Every child in the state of Florida should know about the Pulse nightclub, and they should know about Harvey Milk. It doesn't shame us to know our history. It strengthens us to know our history. And let me tell you this. We will never recognize and get through the darker chapters of our present if we don't know the darker chapters of our past. Whitewashing of history, the marginalization of communities set us backward. They don't move us forward. Yes, some of this is bigger than politics, and that's what I want to end with on this, because here's what's happening in the state of Florida. The reason tonight that we are in a position as a state to elect a Democratic governor for the first time is not because of ideology and not because of policies. Yeah, I think we offer a platform of policies starkly different than my opponent. I think my opponent is fine with economic growth helping only the wealthiest among us, and he's fine with leaving communities behind. The policies he and the president support continue to show that. I think my opponent is okay to abandon responsible government investments that can improve people's lives. He's trying to dismantle public education. He's trying to dismantle support for health care for all people. He's not interested in fixing a homeowner's insurance market, and he doesn't want to invest in workforce and affordable housing, and he wants to bring data centers to the state of Florida. I think he's wrong on policy. But understand what this moment is about. It is so much bigger than policy. This moment is not about policy. This moment is about a broken nation. a broken nation with a generation of children who are looking at us saying, what should we do about this? As a former Republican senator said to me, listen, I'm going to vote for every Democrat on the ballot this year, but don't ask me to go too far. Just ask me to litigate who we are as a people. Ask me to litigate something that my wife and I say every day, which is believe in better. Believe that we're better in this moment than where we are. Believe that we can expect better from our leaders and we can expect better from each other. Believe in each other again. Because you see what's happening. The reason that we have built a coalition strong enough to win the governorship is not about housing policy and healthcare policy and education policy. Sure, that's part of it. But it's because we're believing in each other again. We're believing in each other again, folks. In a moment where our leaders are telling us to stay divided, to continue to hate each other, we're standing up and saying, no, we're not going to do this anymore. We're standing up saying we believe in better. We believe in each other and we're trusting each other again. So when I said I need you to leave here knowing a couple of things, we can win. But I need your help. This is what I need you to understand. We need to continue to believe in each other for the next 75 days. Because all of the garbage that you're going to see on TV, all of the attack ads, it's not about policy. They're trying to break our trust in each other. They're trying to break our trust in each other. In this moment, whether you're a Democrat, an independent, or Republican, we're emerging saying we believe in the fundamental goodness of who we are right now. We believe that we are better in this moment than what we're seeing. And we're rising up as a people. There is a new coalition in American politics, and it's happening right here in the state of Florida. Listen, a state, a deep red state, that the pundits have said could never change our politics. We're doing it right now. A state where the president calls home, and Ron DeSantis has had a tighter grip of politics than any governor we've seen. We're standing up and we're saying we're not going to do this anymore. There's a new coalition in American politics, and it's right here in the state of Florida. And it is bigger than one party. It is led by a party that is led by today's Democratic Party, but it's bigger than our party. It is led by democratic values, but it's bigger than our party. Some of you have heard this story, and I will close with this. Our two kids, I'm telling you folks, it's amazing how different our two kids are. I'm just learning that two kids can come from the same womb and be so different. I said our daughter might be governor before I am at this rate. She's going to be just fine in life. Our 5-year-old son, Teddy, told my wife he's never leaving the house. She thinks this is a great decision. He said, Mom, I want to be a stay-at-home dad. He meant our house. Our house. He wants us to raise his children. God help the partner that he finds in life. But listen, our daughter, our two kids, they're doing great on the trail right now. They found that resiliency gear. As long as the hotel has a pool and they can jump on the bed, everything's just fine in this campaign. I say it's the perfect time to run for governor with the age of the kids. They're out of diapers and not on social media. But here's what they know. Sorry, sometimes, look, 2 weeks on the trail, you miss your kids. I apologize. It gets me sometimes. Listen. Here's what my kids know and your kids and your grandkids know. And it should break our hearts. A child today knows that our politics are broken. A child today knows that our politicians are dividing us. A child today knows that our leaders are peddling hate. Children recognize it. They see it. Our daughter, maybe around November, I was reading to her one night. She started crying. She said, Dad, don't do this. Don't run for governor. Part of it was a girl missing her dad. That's not unique to politics. That happens in a lot of lives, whether it's divorce or work or travel. A lot of parents get drawn away from their kids, and it's hard on kids. Part of it is just a shared experience, as many of you understand. But what I saw in my daughter that night is she was looking at politics saying, it's mean, it's vile, it's nasty, it's toxic. Dad, don't do this, and don't do this to our family. What I said to her in that moment, and I believe the words that were laid on my heart through providence, is I said, sweetheart, when you have a chance to change the world, you take it. You take it. Look, you don't know what's been ordained. You don't know how it turns out. But in a moment when the nation is broken, when a child knows that we are broken as a people, we all have to do what's within reach. And so whether it's Kay standing for office, whether it's some of the state representative candidates or the county commission candidates who are standing up saying, I'm willing to do my part to try to change the world, whether it's the Brownsville ladies saying, we're going to get together and make phone calls because we're going to do our part to change the world, whether it's the groups throughout the panhandle that are saying, we're going to door knock, we're going to make phone calls, we're going to spread the message, we're going to do our part to change the world. This is it, folks. This is bigger than politics. This is bigger than party. This is bigger than ideology. This is about who we are as a people, whether we believe in the fundamental goodness of who we are. And when we decide to trust each other again, when we believe in better, yes, we improve access to housing, to healthcare, to education. We improve the environment. We keep the data centers out. But it's based on a foundational belief that each one of us deserves better. That this state should not just be the free state, but the fair state. That everybody deserves a shot. That we can trust each other again and we can believe in each other again. So I said there are two things I want you to leave here knowing. No, first, we can win the race. Second, I want you to know what's going to have to happen in the next 75 days. They are going to try to break our trust in each other. They are going to try to break us as a coalition. Our job is to not let it happen. Do not let them break us. Do not let them question our trust in each other. Do not let them challenge the fundamental goodness of who we are as a people. That's what this race is about. If you're a Democrat, an independent, or Republican, this is our shot to change the world. Be a part of this campaign, folks. Thank you very much.
Give it up for David Jones and Nick Jones on the stage. Come on, give it up for Pensacola. Give it up for Pensacola. Welcome to David Jones. Thank you, David. David, thank you for being here. Thank you. I walked into Sam Matthews, my old professor, and my mama didn't know that he gave me my grades, but there's some people we should recognize. We have Lamplighters, Mr. Freeman, we have Mr. Clinton from 100 Black Men. Listen, before y'all go, just 1 second. Unfortunately, in Northwest Florida, Democrats have been excluded and left out. But there's been one constant person that has allowed for us to have a facility, has allowed for us to have a gathering place, has allowed for us whether we could pay or couldn't pay, has been the guy that stood in the gap for Democrats. My dear friend, your friend, y'all give it up for Doug Baldwin, the owner of the Improv. He and his fans, y'all stand up and give it up for Doug. Because no matter what, Doug Baldwin has stood in the gap for Democrats of Northwest Florida. Thank you, Doug Baldwin. Thank you, Doug. So as we leave this place, and Alicia Perry, thank you for your fight. Thank you for your fight. Thank you, Alicia, for your fight. Here's an opportunity. Whether you can canvass, whether you can write a check, whether you can make phone calls. This is the race of our life. The Republican control of Tallahassee for the last 33 years had yielded not only no results, but negative results for working people, everyday people. So thank y'all for coming out tonight. Please feel free, find somebody that you don't know, sign up. We got some, Andrea, we got Andrea, will you raise your hand? We got staff people here, sign up, volunteer. Cindy, thank you. Get something else to eat, fellowship with somebody. Thank y'all. And one last time, fired up? Hold on, we don't dismiss church, so we shout. Fired up? Ready to go? Go Jolly. Thank y'all, have a good night.
Yes,